So our gospel reading today drops us right into the middle of this scene where Jesus is teaching the crowd. And because just about everything he says here has an air of mystery to it, let me give you some context on what has led to this moment. In the previous scene, some of John the Baptist's disciples had come to Jesus on a fact-finding mission. They were there on behalf of John to find out if Jesus really was the Messiah. John couldn't go himself because by this point, Herod has imprisoned him, and soon he will be executed. And John wants to know, in prison and with death fast approaching, if his efforts have been worth it, if he has fulfilled his mission to announce the coming Messiah. So it's after these disciples of John leave that Jesus begins to teach the crowd. First about John the Baptist, and then in today's scene, about himself. So in referencing this children's game or song that we no longer know much about, we see Jesus lamenting how the people keep rejecting the truth, no matter how it is packaged for them. First, they sneer at John's asceticism, and then turn right around and sneer at Jesus' revelry. And yet, Jesus says with this curious proclamation, wisdom is vindicated by her deeds. Now, this wisdom that Jesus is referencing is something of a loaded term. There's a whole tradition within Scripture behind this one word. In a book like Proverbs, wisdom gives us this very orderly worldview. It assumes a certain rhyme and reason to the way things in the world work. These rules and structures to the universe. But true wisdom in this tradition is not merely an it. It's not an impersonal force like gravity. Nor is it simply a body of knowledge for the intelligent to acquire and master and manipulate. True wisdom in this tradition is a person whose nature is revealed to us through that person's practices. A person who we discover by entering into relationship with him and by following him. Or rather, I should say, by entering into relationship with her and following her. For in both Hebrew and Greek, the personification of wisdom was feminine. This Lady Wisdom, whom Jesus is identifying himself with in this text, was actually seen as an attribute of God as creator. You can think about it this way. When an artist paints a picture, we understand something from within the artist's very being to be somehow imbued onto the canvas. The artist is communicating something from within themselves. And if we look carefully, we just might be able to discern it. And so the Hebrew wisdom tradition teaches we see something of who God is by looking at this ordered cosmos that God created. This ordered creation, Lady Wisdom, then invites all of us, like a gracious host, into this deeper reality. In Proverbs 9, we are told, wisdom has built her house. She has hewn her 7 pillars. She has slaughtered her animals. She has mixed her wine. She has also set her table. Come, eat of my bread, and drink of the wine I have mixed. Lay aside immaturity and live and walk in the way of insight. This is what the wisdom tradition would invite us into. Tapping into the logic of the cosmos to unlock the good life for ourselves and our neighbors. It's the good life because it is the kind of life God designed for us to have. Justice and health and goodness, all these things come about as a result of aligning ourselves with this natural order created by God and revealed in Lady Wisdom. So books like Proverbs try to teach us how to be wise, how to see and apply this logic of the cosmos into our own lives. And in the wisdom of Ben Sirach, you can hear an even closer parallel between this invitation into the life of wisdom and Jesus' own invitation to us. Quote, "Draw near to me, you who are uneducated, and lodge in the house of instruction. Why do you say you are lacking in these things? And why do you endure such great thirst? Put your neck under her yoke," that is Lady Wisdom's yoke, "and let your souls receive instruction. It is to be found close by." Lady Wisdom, and thus Jesus, is inviting us all into this particular way of life, a life that brings refreshment and rest and true instruction, a place for the weary traveler to trade in their heavy burdens for an easy yoke. Sounds pretty good, right? Now all we need to do is package that up into a proper self-help book with a title like God's Rules for an Easy Life: How to Be Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise. But you know, I can't help but pause here. Because I don't know if you ask me that I would call Christian discipleship an easy yoke or a light burden. The good life it offers certainly doesn't look like the sort of easy living that our world would uphold as the ideal. What Jesus is offering here is not just some self-improvement plan, but a way of life in which every single person is valued. A way of living in which all of the resources given to us by God might be used to meet the needs of everyone. A community where day laborers and itinerant farmers could set down the literal heavy burdens of their work, and a promise that the heavy yoke of Roman oppression pressing down on their necks would be replaced by the lighter yoke of God. Do not be mistaken. That vision of life comes at a cost, particularly for those of us who on a global scale are rich and comfortable. For those who the world calls wise, intelligent, educated, successful. The feast that Lady Wisdom is inviting us into is not at a fine dining restaurant. It's something more like a potluck. A place where feeding others and being fed yourself blend together. A place where one serves as much as they are served. Where one gives as much as one receives. But resist over-romanticizing even this image. Certainly there is something attractive in it, something beautiful and true. But at the end of the potluck, someone still has to do the dishes. Someone has to sweep and take out the trash and put away chairs. Are you ready for the lowly labor that the life of true wisdom requires? For the yoke of Jesus may be light, but don't forget, it comes to us in the shape of a cross. It demands that we die to ourselves, to our own self-interests. And for most of us, bearing that cross is hard work. So how can we say something so hard is actually easy? Well, Augustine of Hippo, commenting on this apparent contradiction, he tells us that whatever is hard among the commandments, love makes easy. Let me read that again. Whatever is hard among the commandments, love makes easy. This is the feast that Lady Wisdom, that Jesus invites you into, where the wise are outranked by those who are like infants, where those who carry heavy burdens are now received as honored guests, and where only the yoke of love will give you rest.